everybody. This is Dimensions of the Supernatural. I am Maureen Grodzinski, and I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Anthony Simonelli, otherwise known as...
Mr. Fuhgeddaboudit, how you doing tonight?
We already have a kind of packed house. Wow, look at all you guys here. We have Oofy, Andy, I don't know, CND boy. I don't even know how we're going to say that. We'll just... C-Boy. We have Ginge with us.
Hey, Ginge.
We have
She's
Bobby.
Gonna be with Ron tomorrow.
Who?
Jen. She's going on Ron's show tomorrow.
Jenny?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, we do have Jenny with us too.
Jenny.
So tonight, sorry, we're both not feeling well. So I'm sorry if anything happens. We're not sure what's going to happen. I've been sick for like a week and a half. Anthony is feverish.
Yeah, I got 101 fever. That's high for me.
See, now, this is how much we love you guys that we show up anyway. So tonight we have Mike King, the Chief of Police of Shepherdstown. No puking on the screen. We'll try to hold it in for you. So he is the chief of police.
Gotta bring more viewers if we did. Different types of viewers.
I don't think it's the flu.
We charge extra for that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if it's going to be any kind of like sound effects or anything, that's extra.
Yeah.
So Mike King is the chief of police of Shepherdstown. He was on... what was it? Ghosts of Shepherdstown and Morgan City. Mm-hmm. So he gets out of work at 7, and he should be joining us shortly.
Matter of fact, he's still in the police department, so that's why he's he has a shift. He has to come home and get ready.
Yeah.
Look pretty for our show.
Thanks, Ginge. She said healing energies to all. So we will just kind of like chit-chat. Hey, Ron. He said, hello, Maureen and Anthony. Sorry you missed us last week. I think you were not feeling so great yourself. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know. I have some rare, complex conditions that I think mine is just flaring right now. And I don't know. Anthony may have just had too much to drink on his birthday.
That's possible. Because I stayed out in the Poconos for the. I just came home yesterday, and I was sick as a dog out there by myself a couple of days. And I came home yesterday. I wasn't feeling good, and today's even worse. And I got an investigation tomorrow. Hey.
Where are you investigating?
I'm going to destroy the name. You know how I am. Grimsmill. It's a place.
Gristmill.
Yeah, that's what I said.
See, this is why you need me in your life.
Say it again.
Gristmill.
Yeah, that's how I'm going. With a bunch of people. Rich Marcella. The Full Moon Girls are going to be there. You know, Lisa and Danielle. And Ron and Lourdes, and I'll be there. And it's actually we're giving the tour of the place, so they they could get money to fix I think a bond or something like that. So whatever money they make, it's going towards renovations, because a lot of these old places are falling apart, and we still want to investigate them. And these people can't really afford them anymore, especially with everything up in prices. So we try to help as much as we could. So that's why we go in and give a tour, and whatever money they make, they put towards renovations of these places, because a lot of them are disappearing, and it's sad.
Yeah.
It really is.
So they are historic places, but we have to keep up the upkeep of them and the renovations. So that's why a lot of us are going to locations like this, because we do fund them by paying for our investigations.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, this is one of them behind me. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, West Virginia. We went there not too long ago. Matter of fact, I was with Carrie Hopper and Chris Allgood, and we had a great time.
Yeah.
Audra was there. Don't forget, I can't forget Audra. And we had a great time there. Matter of fact, that's where I met Scott Relic. Okay, I always just
Reddick.
yeah,
Reddick.
that's what I
Thank
said.
God.
That's what I said. He was there too, and so it was nice. It was really nice. And that place, out of everything I've been to, it's the most haunted. I got attacked. I got strangled there. It was crazy. It was a crazy night. Really
Yeah, there
was.
are some very violent locations.
Everybody too. So yeah, that was a crazy time. You know what I mean? So that's one of my favorites. Second to Hinsdale. Hinsdale's always going to be my favorite. Well, no, I got to say, I got a couple of favorites because the Shanley Hotel is another one. So the Shanley and Hinsdale, like my two number ones to go to. Hey, Lisa.
Lily, I was telling Anthony about my amazing reading, but I didn't tell him much more than that. I told him I would fill him in later. I had a very interesting reading that was, I don't know, very emotional. Lily's also a psychic medium, and she's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Part of Full Moon's team.
Yes. The other thing I wanted to mention, when we were talking about places that need funding, I don't know how many of you know about Crescent. Crescent is closed currently. They were petitioning the Supreme Court, so they need funding for attorneys because it is now with the Supreme Court, and it's looking grim. So if anyone wanted to, donate to that, look up Al Becker. Hi, Tom. So you can help with that. Crescent's a really interesting place. Unfortunately, it's not looking so great. Yeah, Jenny, I know it's they're canceling and they're refunding people and they're trying to sell merchandise. So even if you want to, get a piece of merchandise from them, they're selling t-shirts and sweatshirts and hats and all kinds of gear. Hey, Lourdes.
Can't watch you on TV. Okay, Lourdes.
On the big screen.
The big screen. Oh,
do you look like celebrity?
I don't know if anybody's seen last night that Pam and Steve from Gettysburg
Battlefield Bash.
Okay, they changed the hotel. It's not the same hotel no more.
Yeah, and they changed the location.
Going. They only got a 30 block. I got my room today, and it's for July 20.
The 26th to the 28th.
26th to the 28th. So I already got my room, and they're running out quickly.
Yeah, so, I think they only had 70 rooms left or something. They have two hotels.
Yeah,
it's the Eisenhower and something else.
The
the Aspire.
Yeah,
the Aspire.
And because I'm going to go, I already got my room, and because this hotel is going to be great. Because
it's awesome.
They give free breakfast in the morning. I don't have to pay $100 my family anymore for breakfast.
They have a bar. They have free breakfast. They have an indoor pool.
Matter of fact, they're having the party that we usually have afterwards. They're having it around the pool. They're also going to have wrestlers there tonight. They're setting up a wrestling ring. They're going to wrestling. The events. They outgrew the old hotel. They outgrew it. So now they got into this other hotel and they just redid the whole thing over. And I I looked at picture of the room. I'm like, holy, wow, this is nice.
Yeah.
So, but if you're gonna get a room, get it now. Do not wait, Ron and Lourdes.
No,
Do not wait.
there is no sex dungeon. Nothing yet.
Well,
Although you never know what can happen.
That's at nighttime. By the pool, the sex dungeon.
Lord, Anthony is so excited about breakfast.
Are you kidding me? It cost me $150 for my family for breakfast at this last hotel.
It's not breakfast, it's
$50.
breakfast.
I don't and the breakfast was okay. It's not nothing like wow, this is great. Because I bring my whole family there and it costs me, which I don't mind paying for my food for my family, but if I could get it for free.
You can get it for free. If it's free, it's for me.
And they said it's not those types of eggs like, the dry eggs they usually give at these buffets and stuff. They're real eggs.
Powdered eggs.
And everything. Yeah. So.
She said, stop yelling at her. And Ron wants to know how much the new place is.
Matter of fact, it's cheaper than the last place. You got to look on the thing. The main hotel, what was it?
Was it 124?
Yeah, 120, 134, 124, something like that for those. And then for the other hotel with the pool and everything, it was like 140, something like that. I'm paying for 3 nights, $460, $70, something like that. For 3 nights, because I go there Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
That's what we did too.
It's much easier.
Everybody gets your room immediately
before they sell out. If you go to Gettysburg Bash, do not wait. They do sell out quick. Ron and Lourdes, do not wait.
And no, Andy, there's no mud wrestling. However, this last bash, it rained enough that we probably could have had mud wrestling out in the parking lot.
We could have wind wrestling. That tornado, the wind,
it was like a tornado or something.
I
don't know if it will go over too big with the wife as she rolls her eyes. See, I don't know who that is. I wish we knew.
CND
boy. Do we know that person? Personally? We probably do, and we have no idea who it is. Ron has wind.
Yeah, Ron was doing that. Are you kidding? During that storm, I think Ron was in his third nap.
I was out cleaning up the Ouija board truck, getting yelled at. So we talked about the building.
Tony Radman's watching. Todd, I got Todd on my thing. I'm looking at having on my Facebook here. Got Todd there.
I should start doing that. I don't do that enough.
Yeah, I put it on the Facebook because we don't see the Facebook people on this half the time.
That's a good idea.
So that's what all that dinging is. Everybody's dinging me. I'm a ding.
I could see everybody on YouTube Dimensions of the Supernatural.
Bennett.
ERT.
Heather.
Hey, Tammy.
Tammy. What's up, Tam?
Oh, here's our guest.
Hey.
Hi,
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Mike. What's up, man?
I'm sorry.
I said, what's up, brother?
Nah, same old, same old. Just got back down from work, and it's been a long day.
Yeah, I bet it has. It's hot out there, huh?
Yeah, it's warm down here.
Right, because we got humidity up here so bad, it's like AC. And you're out there all day with uniform. Yeah.
We have a packed house waiting for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
They have nothing else to do today? Is that what it is?
Yeah, well,
we have a great
we had to put money out there and say, yeah, you can come and join us and we'll have to give you some money. No. Everybody liked you. You're a well-liked person.
Wow. They don't like it when I say sign here on the bottom, though.
No, I don't think I would like that either.
Yeah.
Well, you're my friend, but sign here anyway. Come on.
That's right.
It cost me earrings. So how you doing today? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Is my mic working?
Yours is. We hope you had a quiet shift and you're ready to go with all the questions.
It wasn't a quiet shift, but I'm ready to go with them.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, this will be nice and fun for you, and we'll have a great time.
Okay.
You see the picture behind me? Look familiar?
I can. What is that?
That's Trans Allegheny.
Oh, yeah?
Biggest Island, yeah. I figured I'd put something in your home state in there, yeah?
Yeah. Well, that's a little ways away from me.
Is it? I'm not sure.
Quite a bit. Yeah. It's probably 2 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's only 8 hours for me, so.
Only. There you go.
Only 8. Only 8. We're getting used to all these traveling to go investigating. It's like anything under 5 hours, not worth it. Let's go. You got to go 7, 8 hours. Let's go.
Well,
Yeah.
the trip's half the fun.
Yeah. The trip
Not
going
always.
there is not that bad. Getting there is not that bad. It's the coming home.
Yes.
There's
Definitely.
nothing to look forward to when you're coming back.
Yeah. So it's like I drive all these hours and stuff. So, so I know Maureen has some questions. Go ahead, Maureen.
Always.
Okay.
I'm the questioner. Anthony just fills in the gaps with stories about the places.
There you go.
So before the ghosts of Shepherdstown and Morgan City, have you ever dealt with anything paranormal before?
Well, you told me Shepherdstown. That's when he was the stories of Shepherdstown. No?
Right. That's kind of where it all kicked off. I worked 30 years in a municipality in Hagerstown, in Maryland, Hagerstown, Maryland. And there was, for 30 years, I didn't hear one ghost claim. I mean, we kind of wrote everybody off as being probably a little loose upstairs. There was some issues going on, and that was the reason for the activity that was happening. Or drugs or alcohol. But we don't have those same type things in Shepherdstown. I mean, I was there 3 days, not 30 years. I was there 3 days and I started hearing about it.
Wow. And during any while you're there, were you called on any location that something was going on, but there was nobody there, and that's how you started saying, "Wow, maybe there's something more to it." Like something closer.
Yeah. I've got a friend of mine he's an older gentleman, and he used to ride with me occasionally because I used to work all night shift down there. And we pulled up to the one school down there for an alarm. And it was always the same sensors that would get tripped. And that school has quite a history. I just didn't know the history as to what was behind the stories. But he swears he saw shadows, and that would be consistent with everybody else's story. And he told me, he said, I will never go in that place with you. And he was sitting in the car the whole time and saw all this on the second floor. He saw the shadows moving around. We weren't even in the building. So, yeah, there were quite a few other things. I think I had things actually happened to me what I started to say in Maryland, but we kind of discounted it. We were a lot busier. We didn't really have time to look into a lot of things. And we just discounted it as, well, I must have been hearing something, or it couldn't have happened that way. But I had one incident, and one night Nick Groff and I were riding around in the cruiser, and we were talking, and I started telling him this story. And I worked K-9 in Hagerstown for about 11 years. And we were at an old school in the north end of town, and we had an open door. So we got enough officers to go around the building, and then I went inside with the dog. And it was a 3-story building. And when I went inside, I was right at a stairway. And we always, in police, give our commands, police K-9, come out, I'll cut the dog loose, or something close to that effect. And when I did that, clearly, I heard running from my right to left 2 people on the second floor. Now, I could have probably said maybe I was hearing things, but my dog raised his head, he looked up, and he followed the sounds. And the minute I cut him loose, he shot up the steps.
Wow.
There was nobody in that building.
Oh, wow. And the dog.
And that has a history of having things happen in it as well.
That is
something. So, And as we're riding around with Nick, he says, "So Mike," he says, "you don't believe in ghosts." He says, "Well, what do you think that was?" And I said, "Well, I really never looked at it that way." Because he kept saying, in 30 years, you've had to have things happen and you just don't realize it. And that was one of the incidents that came to me. And then when he said that, it's like, yeah, you're probably right. Cause you can fool me. I mean, I could hear things, but you don't fool the dog. The dog, he wasn't fooled at all.
No. And he went after it too. That's awesome. How the dog, because dogs do see and hear things that of course we don't. So
Yeah. And they can't be told it's nothing there either,
No. They just go by instincts.
Yes.
We go when we go, we have reason of doubt. The dog does, and the dog goes, my instinct is going to get me there. And we always have that reasonable doubt to always like question what we're about to do, where the dog just goes. And that's why sometimes we hear and see things, and then we just question. It's like, is that really? Nah, it can't be.
Yeah.
So that's why we always doubt ourselves, where a dog never does, or any
Exactly.
animal there, for that matter.
I was just going to say, like, dogs are not even the most perceptive. Cats are way beyond dogs because they see in like the purple spectrum, and that's where like the psychic part of the spectrum is. And cats are constantly with their eyes closed, kind of swaying back and forth, and they're astral projecting all the time. Cats see things more than any other being on the planet. So if the dogs see that or hear that, can you imagine what the cats are seeing that they're not even letting us know?
And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a cat person. So how would you know a cat is seeing something? I mean, I watch dogs. I've learned to read dogs from working with dogs in police work. I mean, and that sounds dumb, but that's true. You learn to read the dog. Okay.
Well, you're with them all the time.
Yeah. And now, I mean, are some of the things that you're seeing with cats, are they like humping up like there's something there? Like they're hissing? Or what does a cat do when something like this is happening?
They move their ears even so slightly towards noise, or like they'll start to turn their head a little bit. My cat, she kind of like turned her head really quickly and there was nothing there. I took a picture and there was this tiny little being sitting on my table.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But cats don't care. Cats don't
care. That's why they move so slightly.
A dog will. A cat will not go after it. A cat be like, oh yeah, he's there. Okay.
And walk away.
That's why they're not guard cats.
The cats are not going to go and do anything. They're going to just look and say, "Oh, yeah, okay, there's a ghost over there. Feed me."
Yeah.
A dog's just going to jump up and go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So that's the only difference between a dog and a cat, especially on investigation. I'm not going to bring a cat on investigation. I'll bring a dog, if anything.
Right.
There might be some cats that are good on leashes, but dogs are definitely easier to control.
Yeah, dog. Yeah.
That's why Tammy's has great dogs. Hers are all like German Shepherds, and they are super sensitive and they react to everything. Hers are awesome.
Yes.
What happened? I think she has like 5 dogs, doesn't it? All Shepherds.
Tammy?
I seen a picture. Yeah.
Yeah, she has 7.
7.
And they react.
It's kind of looking back on it, it's kind of strange. I'm sure I could remember other incidents that happened with the dogs, because for 11 years I worked with the dogs, so there was a lot of things. There was old buildings that we were in all the time, but yeah, that one just really sticks out in my mind. I don't know why, but that was one. I think I learned to trust him a little more on that kind of stuff.
So how long were you there before you decided to, before they started bringing in Nick and his crew? How long were you on the force?
Well, I had been there we did that in 15. I had been there almost 4 years when we started. I wasn't brought in I was just brought in as a patrolman, and I worked night shift. I had retired, and I was tired of telling people what to do. I was looking for somebody else to tell me what to do for a while. And it kind of fit right in. Now, I will tell you that when I came in, the guy who was the chief of police there at the time, he was into ghost hunting. He was with a team and so forth, and would do paranormal investigations. And he started telling me about all the ghosts in town. I mean, like probably my first day, he starts telling me, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't want to hear, because like I say, I haven't dealt with anything like that.
Yeah.
And then I say 3 days. It was within my first couple weeks. I got my first real dose of it, because he told me this. The guy who was the chief, he said, do you know who Rick is? Now, unfortunately, Rick has since passed. But he worked at one of the places that we actually did an investigation on in the show Ghosts of Shepherdstown, and he worked the night shift there. And it was the investigation that they did that he brought that around. But the chief who was there, he says, ask him what he sees in the basement at night of this place. And he worked there. I don't know. I'd always see him 2, 3 o'clock in the morning sitting out smoking a cigarette on the steps when he took his break. And I'd stop and I'd talk to him. And when I asked him about, I mean, we would joke back and forth and everything was good, But when I asked him, I said, so I'm supposed to ask you what you see in this place at night in the basement. And man, the smile went off his face. And he got very, very serious. He said, there is nothing in that basement I need at night. I will never go down there at night by myself.
So he was terrified.
Yeah.
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 That was something.
So that was in the police station.
That was in Shepherdstown, and that one actually was in the show Ghost of Shepherdstown. That investigation, it was at the sweet shop, the very first place we were at, and that's what kind of kicked things off. I mean, that was probably the most active. Well, I can't say that's the most active. The most active places we couldn't investigate.
Oh, really?
Isn't that where the knives were being thrown?
No, that was another location. That was where the well was in the basement.
Okay.
Yes.
So, do you know what was going on? Like when they said that there was a background story at the school, do you know the stories behind what went down there? Like, did you go back and read about things?
I actually did a little asking around, and I will tell you, there's two stories. I talked to the custodian who's in the school all the time, and I asked him. I said, "So I hear this place is haunted," and he started to laugh. He said, "This place isn't haunted." He said, "My dad worked here." He said, "I've worked here for 15 years." He said, "I've spent the night in this place. I've never seen a thing." I said, "Well, it's kind of strange because I hear stories about it." I said, "And every time I come here, it's always the same alarm sensors." Now, look, after 30 years, you know how the alarms work. I mean, if you get one sensor, it's probably a malfunction. If you get 2 or 3 sensors that go off at the same time, something has set them off. So you look for an animal, and when there's nothing there for that, you look to see if somebody else had been in the building prior to you getting there. When there's none of that, it's really hard to explain what's causing this. And when it's always the same sensors, and it's in the area where the stories are coming from, and the story is that there was a teacher there who spent most of her adult life as a teacher in that school. She retired, never married, didn't have any children. All of her family was gone. She was by herself, and she passed away shortly after retiring. And everybody says it is her. Now, I will tell you that we used to have a canine in Shepherdstown when I first came there. And there are officers from 3 different agencies that were there when this happened. And they all swear they will never go back in there in that building again. That the dog chased what they said was a woman, but she disappeared into the wall, and the dog ran right up to the wall and stopped.
Oh, wow.
So, and look, like I said, there are 3 different agencies. They were all 3 there together. One would not lie for the other. It's not like I don't have to go on that call if it comes in. I still have to go. I still have to check it out. You know, there's no reason for them to make this story up and tell me.
You can't just say, I'm scared, I'm not going.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. There's nobody else coming.
And these guys with guns. It's like,
I'm sorry?
these are guys with guns, and then they're going to go location. You know, they're
Well,
fully loaded,
you know,
and they're well trained, and they're afraid of a ghost.
the story, when you say guns, the one guy that was there, the two of the guys that were there, the one guy said, when I saw it happen, he said, I went to back up. He said, and I felt something cold and hard banging me in the back of the head, and it was the guy's gun barrel behind me. He was shaking so bad, he was tapping him in the back of the head with the gun barrel because they both just witnessed this happen.
Oh, wow.
So he drew his gun, but
yeah. They thought, well, they had seen it. They thought it was somebody in the school that didn't belong in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That's
and there's many other,
ghost hunter, a paranormal, a person of paranormal. That is something that we would love to have on camera. That'd be like a ghost running into a wall, the dog stopping short and almost hitting the wall because the spirit disappeared. That'd be like
epic.
Anybody that got that would be like, whoa, that is like the golden grail of ghost hunting.
Well, listen, thanks to you, my camera's on all the time now. So if it does happen again, I will have it. We didn't even have body cameras back then. That was before we were the first municipality in West Virginia to get body cameras, and we've had them now for about 8 years.
The body cams, yes. I don't think.
Yeah. 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 I know. He was telling me what he does with it, and I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Whenever we investigate, we have a body cam on.
Right. If you turn quickly and you see something, your camera's going to catch it. You don't have to worry about, did I have my camera on? Did I swing the camera in the right direction? It's going wherever you go.
That's right.
Unless you're running away.
And also, in some locations, I actually put it on I have 2 body cams, and I put one on my back.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you go down, I mean, I've been on plenty of places. Matter of fact, Trans-Allegheny, you go down those hallways, it's pitch black. And all you got that little LED screen to see down the hall, the night vision camera, that's all you see. So as you're going down, how many times do you hear stuff behind you as you pass by? Now I got it on body cam. So if something does happen back there, I could see maybe something that, spirit or something moving, or I'll see Jason riding down the hall with a knife.
Yeah, there you go.
You never know. When you go to these locations, you're not knowing what's there. It's not the ghosts you're going to be afraid of the living and some of the animals that might be living there.
Or squatters. Like, you never know what could be in the building ahead of you.
So if I have a body cam on my back, at least there's evidence there was some kind of serial killer or some kind of slasher back there that took me to pieces, But but I wear it on my back and on my front because you never know what you might get behind you, because by the time you swing your camera around, it's gone.
Yes.
So you have your back and in your chest,
So what do you think was your most terrifying encounter?
It wasn't of the paranormal, I can tell you that.
Well, paranormal.
I don't know that I'm really terrified. I don't know that I'm really terrified of any of it, and I'm not saying that I want to see something so bad, but everybody says you've got this brick wall built up and you'll never see it. So I don't have those experiences like that, like everybody else is telling me that they see. Like if I'd been at that school the time that incident happened, I'd almost guarantee you I wouldn't have seen anything.
Yeah.
And everybody says, like when I say everybody, I'm talking to the paranormal investigators say, you just need to relax and open yourself up and let yourself see the stuff. Yeah,
so believe,
It's-
or do you believe, but you just kind of like ball yourself up into a shell and don't
I've
want to?
been doing this job for 43 years. I can't, my career depends on what I can prove and what I can't prove. So if I can't see it, and if I can't put it in writing as to what I saw, it didn't happen. And that's basically the way the courts treat me. So that's kind of the mindset that I have had doing this job for
Mhm.
so long. It makes it difficult, I think, for me to open up and say, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that's probably going on. I mean, still to this day, I would probably, it would have to happen a couple times to me for me to say, there's maybe something more here than what I'm seeing. Like that school alarm that I'm talking about. I
Mhm.
wasn't just there once. I was there many times for the same sensors. That's when it started to click in my head that maybe this is just not, you know, a story that everybody's telling me, because it's consistent with what they're telling me.
So
Did they
Tammy
ever
asked
check?
a good
Did they ever
question.
check? Did they
Go
ever
ahead.
check the sensors there? Did they ever, the change the sensors or anything on those locations, or it was the same sensor all the time?
Yeah, and I'm not trying to use Nick's saying, but at times the hair stands up on your arms, the hair on the back of your neck. But that has also happened to me in this line of work. And we learn to
Mhm.
recognize that if it does it, there's something going on. So I look at it from the other perspective, like
Mhm.
it's a crime. There's something going on with crime that I'm not seeing. I don't
Yeah,
look at it with the paranormal.
yeah. See, I look at it as an electrician. My former job, I look at
Right.
it as an electrician, and if a sense is going off in the location, and they're always going off, I would check the ground wires. I would check, the wire, wires coming in, or maybe just senses. They, change the senses. See, I would look at it both ways. Like, you want to say, yeah, it's all paranormal, but sometimes there could be some sort of natural thing that's happening. Wearing of wires, and or maybe wires off on
Exactly.
the grounds. You know,
Right.
so
You look for the explainable reason before you go the other direction.
yes, I always do that, especially when it comes to electrical and stuff like that. So that's I would look for the stuff like that in those cases. You know,
You said
but
somebody had a question?
Yes,
yeah,
Tammy. She
Debbie.
said, "Are you an open-minded skeptic?"
Yes. I'm a skeptic, and I'm
Okay.
open-minded because I would love to see it.
Mhm.
And I've told all the teams that I've been with, if you can show me one, I'll be impressed.
But you see, you're not ready for it. So it will happen eventually. If you're going to be staying around all that type, if you're going out with teams and stuff, eventually it will happen. You're not ready for it right now for whatever reason. So that's why your wall's up. And one day it's going to happen when your wall's down. You never realize you have your walls up. It's just going to happen. And then you're going to like, wow, that maybe there is
Yeah.
something to that.
So you must have seen photos of evidence where there is some form of, mist or shadow figures, or even, half of an entity, or a full-blown, full body apparition, right?
Sure. Yes.
Did you believe what you saw?
Ghost
No.
of Morgan City. Let me give you an example.
I plead the fifth.
Ghost of Morgan. I'm sorry.
I plead the fifth.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Ghost of Morgan City, where they captured the apparition, the body, whatever it was that they captured in Ghost of Morgan City.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Some of my good friends on paranormal teams, and Anthony, I think you were there when we talked about this. They said, "Man, is that CGI? Did they make that up?" I said, "Man, I hope that's not what they did." And I actually got on the phone and I called the producer, who is now a pretty good friend of mine who did our shows. And I said, "Look, no, I don't want to, no BS. Tell me the truth. what happened there. She said, we honestly don't know. We want somebody to tell us what it is. So she
I
wouldn't
mean,
lie to me.
when I seen that, I was like, it's like you do think CCS, you think they might have put something in there. Then you're still looking back and like, no. And and in my case, I didn't know which end to take, which way to go with it.
Right.
Because on TV, a lot of these networks, and you know how they are. They'll try to
They're in it.
make
They're in it to
look
make
more.
you watch. If they keep your interest,
Yeah,
they want you to,
yeah.
sure.
That's what they want. They want you to keep your interest in stuff. So I don't know if like some of these shows put stuff in, or I mean, I spoke to some of the people, people that were part of shows. So I'm not going to say which shows and stuff,
Sure.
but they like if they're in a location and they're looking down the hallway and they see a shadow
Hmm.
and the camera don't. Later on, let's say there was a shadow down that hallway and they'll put something in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But they're saying the way that the producer thinks, well, you've seen something down there. So if we put something in, it's just a reenactment of what you've seen.
Right.
So that's how they justify to some of the shows. The
But if
shows
they
I'm talking about are not around no more,
Reenactment.
but it's like a reenactment. But that's how they justify it. So when it comes to shows, so when I seen that with that spirit, I'm like, wow, that is great evidence. And I'm just
Yep.
hoping it's real evidence, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, I can only go by what they told me. I wasn't there. I wasn't on the investigations. Unfortunately, I still had to work while we were doing all these. So,
Mhm.
you know, I still got to pay my bills.
Yeah, of
So,
course. Yeah.
yeah. So
And
we were working. I was working. They would do their investigations, and we would meet afterwards. And I will tell you what the sad part about TV is. Um, Obviously, you all know how long investigations take.
Yeah.
Okay.
mhm. Yes.
Um, and when a TV show is filmed and they gather all their information, that is then sent to an editing company, okay, or part of the the production company who has editing, and then they put the show together. So quite a bit of your show is cut out. Quite a
Mhm.
bit of the evidence that you gathered is cut out because you have to fit everything you got into a 42-minute block
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the commercials and everything. And that's extremely difficult. It's frustrating because when you watch the episode, you go, well, what about this? And what about that? And we saw this and we saw that. And
Mhm.
it's difficult. I mean, it's frustrating for the people who are there that are doing it. I mean, it's the people who have shows, it's very frustrating to do that do the investigations and put so much
Mhm.
into it. It really is.
It
And that
is.
editing company chooses what's the best evidence put out there.
Yeah.
As
Yes.
a paranormal investigator, you know what you feel is the best evidence. These people that are there on the cut, and they'll edit, and you're going to get stuff that you think is great, but they
Yes.
don't think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so they cut out a lot of good stuff because the editors are usually not paranormal investigators. Editors just put stories together. You give
That's
them
all they do.
everything, and they make you a story. You know,
Yep. They get raw footage and they put it together.
and that's what they do. They're good at what they do. But then, if they were real paranormal investigators, like I know we got a lot of guys out here in the audience and everything that have their own little shows or they edit their own stuff. But they're investigators, so they know what to put in. They don't know what to put in.
Exactly. They know what they're looking for and they know how to
Mhm.
put it there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's usually
So
because the editor doesn't know the storyline behind what happened, and they're just picking up what they hear, like on an EVP, or they look
Yes.
at the video or whatever. They're not knowing what happened with the night that this was all going down. They're
yeah,
just
Exactly.
picking out what
yeah,
they think was a good grab.
yeah. So
Yes. Very much. That's exactly it.
they got to make a good show. But
Yeah.
the
And
show,
and let's face it. If if you took a TV crew out and you sat and you filmed the whole night and you got an EVP and I don't know, maybe somebody knocking on a knock on the wall. Okay.
Mhm.
How long do you think people's going to watch that show?
That's right.
That's
right.
also the problem that they have to face.
Yeah.
So
But
I
that's when
see
they
it from both sides. It's difficult. It's
Mhm.
it's very difficult.
But that's when they get investigators that I'm not saying what show again, but they start become actors and they start getting scared and they start running out of locations just to build up. You know, they might get one knock or two and they go, "Oh, what's that?" And they go running
Yeah.
out, or
Yeah.
let's get out of here and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and then people are like, "Whoa, what happened?" But nothing really happened. There was a knock on the wall or something,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Exactly.
But but I really don't like knocking shows because I've been doing this a long time, and not to like 2004 when the shows Ghost Hunters came out, and um, you know Ghost Adventures, and what was the other one? The Penn State one,
Oh, Paranormal State.
Paranormal
Yes.
State. Those three pretty much opened up the field to a lot of us that before 2004 couldn't talk about it, and if you were doing it, you were crazy, and
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? So those shows, pretty much what I know of those three shows. There might have been a couple more shows out there that brought it to the forefront, but those shows brought it in.
I got to tell you, that was my biggest fear with doing this on TV is, I've done this job for a long time. I hopefully have gained some respect in this field, and I didn't want to lose it with, like you just said, people looking at you going, "Man, you're crazy," thinking that stuff. But it was exactly the opposite. I got calls from law enforcement officers all across the country who said, "Thank you. You are bringing up stuff that I have seen and done, and everybody's told me I was crazy." So it was the exact opposite of what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Well, who's going to call? You guys are going to get more calls than anyone else because people think that there's something or someone in their home. They're going to call you. They're not going to call us. They're going to call you, and that's a problem because you want to make sure that you still have a good reputation and you don't look crazy because you guys have enough of a problem right now without having
we're not real high on the community's popularity contest.
No,
not really. My husband has to deal with that. He's law enforcement, and he's like,
yes,
we go to work and we get spit on and we get stabbed or we get pushed or we get beaten on, and then there's this on top of it. It's not great.
right. Yeah. Yeah. So and let me say that the other thing too is I can tell when Ghosts of Shepherdstown or Ghosts of Morgan City is airing somehow differently. Like when it first came out, my phone rang off the hook. Okay. I mean, literally from all over the United States, and not even in the United States. I was getting calls from the United Kingdom and places. That, honest to God, that is what happened. And then when it just started on HBO Max, I believe it was, the phone started to light up again. And it's been, what, 6 years, 8 years, something like that, since the very first one.
Years already. Wow.
So, yeah, and the phone started lighting up again. Again, I also have a whole Rolodex of paranormal investigator cards in my desk. And it's kind of nice because I do have stuff to draw from when somebody says, "Do you know anybody in this area?" And I can actually kind of give them some. And I don't send the people to them. I usually call the people myself and say, "Here's this person's number. You call them and talk to them and see what you think."
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it instead of just getting the surprise call from somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm seeing worms crawling on my ceiling, because it could be a mental illness or it could be something else.
Or chemical. Yeah,
chemical,
something you're shoving in your veins that's causing you to look at the
Yeah.
worms so much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But it's something how um, you opened up to all the law enforcement throughout the country and UK and other places, showing that because a police officer may not go to a regular civilian and say, "Oh, I see ghost," you
Right.
know, but
Right.
they could get in touch with you and tell you the story. You know, what I mean,
Yeah.
that's really something how you opened it up to the law enforcement. Because as an investigator, I go places. I worked in the city of Manhattan and everything, and a lot of places I went to, like on the job, being an electrician, they bounce from one place to the next place. And on the job, I have these guys that come up to me, goes, "Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something?" And they tell you their stories. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And they open up to you. I never told anybody this. I never told anybody this. So in your case, you have the same thing, but with more of a, you know, with law enforcement. These guys that don't want to tell their story because they're afraid. Even they tell their partner, the partner say, "What are you doing? What do you want?" You know.
See,
So
that was a big fear I had when we did the show on the very first season when we were done and it was getting ready to air. A couple days before, we had a special premiere airing for the people in town at one of the auditoriums there. Um, and I was really concerned about it because we're a small town and good news, bad news travels real quick. It doesn't really matter. I mean, they talk, it's typical small town. Um, but what you just said actually happened. When we come out, people were talking amongst themselves. And as for the next couple weeks, people that I've known in that community for a long time would walk up, they'd look around, make sure there's nobody looking and going, "Hey, I got a story I want to tell you. You should have seen what I saw," and things like that. And it was really kind of neat. They had a lot of input into it. Then they didn't take it the way I thought they would. They had their own stories to tell.
that's awesome. Especially when they share, they feel like something's off their chest now. They couldn't talk
Yes.
about it. Now it's like, oh, or like relief. So
Right.
that's awesome that they came to you and everything. But that's like I said, when I first started, I had the same thing. When it first opened up, and they used to call me at the Javits Center in Manhattan. They used to call me Tony the Ghostbuster or Ghost Guy Tony, or they always had something with ghost in it. And they go, one guy used to come out and he introduced me to everybody, and because we were doing the rebuilding the tower down. I was working Tower 1 and Tower 4 down by the towers, and
Yep.
I was known there as Tony the Ghost Guy, the Ghostbuster, the real. Yeah, this is Tony. He's a real Ghostbuster. I'm like,
Yeah,
you
the
know,
Ghostbusters.
the
Yeah.
Ghostbusters. Yeah, it was something. But when these people's stories and they come out with these stories, like you know, it was helpful for them. I wrote down a lot of my stories, especially down the towers. Well, after that, I had a million people that were working there with stories and stuff that happened up, and I wrote down all these stories. It's really sad,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
you know, but in Shepherdstown, the one location. What was like most haunted location there? So is there
The most haunted location is the place they used for their headquarters in the first one. That's what all the
really
producers and the camera guys told me. They said the sounds that come out of there at night and things like that. They said that place was the most haunted place in Shepherdstown.
okay? Was that on the one of the airs? They said that on the air.
I don't think they
I
did.
don't think I ever said
There's a
that.
lot of behind the scenes stories about that location too. Um, that I've been told about, and Dana from the show had told me about quite a few of them.
Yeah. The one that says "What's up?" That's Bob Christopher.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob's on. You got
Bob,
Ernie on. Your buddy
amazing
Ernie.
equipment.
Yeah, we got a couple people on Facebook. Yeah, we don't see your name on the screen right now, Bob, because you have to sign into StreamYard so we can see your name. But we see you.
We see you, and we
I
appreciate you
see
being
you on
with
my
us.
phone. I have it on my phone too. So,
So, when all of those different locations started to be linked together, were you kind of blown away by that, or was that something that they kind of figured out and then you didn't realize it until after it was aired?
Well, honestly, they all talked about it, and I just kind of went, "Yeah, whatever." You know, I mean, honestly,
You're an
that's
open-minded skeptic. Remember that.
yeah. I just wanted the crap to stop. You know.
you know, I noticed since I've been doing this and doing paracons and everything, and I've been noticing a lot of law enforcement, a lot of cops are doing investigating these days. A lot
Yeah.
of them, from psychics and to, I mean, I can't believe it. It's like everybody's a cop nowadays doing. I guess they're the best ones to be doing this job, doing investigating, because they know how to
Yeah.
really investigate.
Investigating's investigating. You're looking for the truth. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, that's what you're doing, and you're just following all your leads to as far as you can take them.
Yeah. So it's
I
like a lot of them.
I think a lot of police officers have really amazing intuition. They were born that way. They have an empathic ability. So they're already starting off that way as soon as they're born, and they are drawn to the job. So I think they're already like that, and they pick the job, and then they start to develop more abilities. So I don't think it's like the opposite way. I think it's that way to start.
I think you're probably right. That and we're nosy.
True.
It's the truth.
So after the show, did you have anybody in the town when you're arresting them saying, "Oh, the ghost made me do it"?
Do it.
I didn't in that town, but I did in Hagerstown.
Really?
Yeah, it was a pretty severe child abuse case that we had. And they tried to convince us that the ghost did it, but that was too far out there.
That's sad. That's really sad. I was saying as a joke, but oh man.
No, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Now, I will tell you, one of the funniest calls I ever got, because they always say, "Do you get any 911 calls?" Well, Shepherdstown's like Mayberry. Okay. I mean, seriously, it's a very small town, and people, honest to God, will have something happen at night. And if it's on a Friday night, they'll wait till Monday to call the office to talk to us about it. Okay.
really?
They don't call the police. Yeah, they don't. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's the way it works. Now, we do have a 911 center, and they could pick up the phone and do that, but they don't. Okay. But it's really like Mayberry. It's just, I don't know. It's a really small town, and word travels around. I mean, it is what it is.
How many officers are on patrol at a time there?
I mean, at the most 2.
Wow.
Typically, it's only 1. At night, it's only 1 typically.
So if you have like a 911 call, do they call officers from, that not working?
Yeah, well, the university is right there beside of us, and they have a police department too, and they are 24/7 police department.
Okay.
We also have the sheriff's department, state police, and there's a couple other municipalities right there in the area that have their own police department, and we will respond. And we're all deputized for the entire county, so we back each other up on a routine
so it becomes
basis.
Like a mutual aid kind of thing if you need the help.
Yes.
Okay.
So going back to what I was talking about on the 911 call, in between the first ghost of Shepherdstown and the second ghost of Shepherdstown, I'm working one day and I get a call on the radio, and the dispatcher says, "Hey," and we hadn't even decided to do a season 2 because I hadn't heard anything on what we were going to do, because there was still stuff going on, whether they wanted to come back and look at it or not. They didn't tell me. But the dispatcher says, hey, he says, I got somebody who wants to be on season 2 of Ghosts of Shepherdstown. They got a ghost in their house. And I thought, they got to be kidding, So I answered the radio. I said 10-4, and I called him on the phone. I said, are you kidding? He goes, no, I'm serious. And I went out and I talked to the people, and they were very, very serious. They had an issue, and I had to actually get a hold of some people that had left me a card, and they went and took care of the problem.
Oh, so and to today, you get people calling you, hey, go to my house, come and get it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we got a lot of calls. When the show first aired, we got a lot of calls from people telling us what we did wrong.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
Not like working at Disney.
I had a gentleman from Florida. Okay, he would call me. Show aired on Sunday. Monday, I could guarantee you I was getting a call, and he would tell me, but he hit the nail on the head on some things. It was kind of funny. Of course, we have the university there. Okay, and he would call me every week, and towards the end of the first season, he was getting a little perturbed with me. He said, listen, he said, I know what the problem is in that town. He said, they've got a paranormal class at that university, and they're teaching Ouija board stuff. He said, they need to get all those Ouija boards and burn them in the street. He said, and everything will be okay. So I thought, nah, they don't have that kind of stuff. Yeah, but he was right. They did have a class in there on that.
But here's the thing. A Ouija board is just another form of divination, like
pendulum, it's a tool.
Tarot. Yeah. I mean, if you use it properly and you have positive intentions and perception behind it, it's not going to do the things that people see in movies. It's going to just be benign.
Well, he touched on that. He said they don't know what they're doing with it.
That could be it. So if they're the wrong teachers, that could be the problem.
You can't burn a Ouija board that's not closed.
Correct.
You burn a Ouija board. If it's letting stuff in, it's not closed correctly, you burn it. What happens? It stays open.
It's a portal.
It comes in. So you can't burn. So the guy that's telling you about Ouija boards doesn't know the full thing about Ouija boards.
He doesn't know anything either.
You know what I mean? Because if you burn a Ouija board that's not closed correctly,
well, he surely didn't mind telling us where we messed up. Believe me.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, that's really funny.
A lot of critiques. We got a lot of critiques.
Everybody likes to be a critic.
Yeah, but I understand that. But honestly, look, we do it with everything in our lives every day. So why not? If you can't take a little bit of criticism, you're never going to learn anything.
Right, but why is he calling you? You have a lot to do in your day.
Well, there's an easy answer for that, too. I'm the only one that has a public phone number.
Right, you're available. Maybe he should come out when they're filming, though.
Well,
Ron Yacovetti said, Mike clearly has consideration and empathy for the paranormal community and the general public, which is not an easy balancing act, but absolutely deserves to be respected. Chris Allgood says, agreed, and being able to keep the balance between police work and the paranormal is someone with true empathy and patience. And
Chris Allgood was he was on the force for a time also.
And he also said that if you ever need him, he and his wife Audra are amazing people, and they're in North Carolina, so you can always refer people to them.
Well, please tell him to hit me up on email and give me the info, and I'll store it in there.
Yeah,
for sure.
Chris, matter of fact, the place behind me, he was with me there to investigate. Matter of fact, they invited us. And Chris, I would say, is a excellent and a very, he looks at things and say it's not always haunted. And he breaks things down to show, that there's something there, or that no, maybe there's not. So Chris and Audra are excellent.
A little of everything.
I recommend them. I worked with them a couple times, and they're very good investigators.
He also said, as long as you close the session when completed, but it still opens the door when used. It does, because it is a device of divination. I think that's everything. So yeah, I do agree with that. It is a form of divination. So everything is like not, I don't know if I would use a portal to the other side, but it is like a telephone to the other side.
Okay. Okay.
Jenny, Mike, did the show make you more interested in local Shepherdstown history, or was that already an interest of yours?
No, I learned a lot about Shepherdstown through the show on the history of it. And yeah, I became interested in a lot of it. And I don't know near enough about Shepherdstown yet to speak too much of the history of it. A lot of things will come up that have happened obviously, 100 years ago. Okay, I can look that up, but there are a lot of people there who are big into the history of the town, have lived there all or most of their lives, and they are great resources. So it's easy to go ask the questions to find the answers that you want, and that's how I've learned a lot of my stuff. And it's not just one person telling you; it's it's good information that I'm getting, and I can confirm it as well.
As long as it's not like the telephone game where somebody tells a story and then it changes slightly and it changes slightly.
No.
I'm sorry, Anthony.
No.
The what do you call it? How old's the town? You know how old the town
Shepherdstown is now there's an argument between them and Romney. Okay, but by 1 minute, one of the two of them is the oldest town in West Virginia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what was the resource of income? Was it like mining? What was down there? Was it farming at one time? Or how? I mean, if they're that old.
Well, yeah, there's no heavy industry there. It almost had to be farming. Most of it's farmland now.
Oh, okay.
And people don't want heavy industry. I'm sorry?
No,
I've never been down there. Oh, let her talk.
I can't hear what she's saying.
No coal mines at all?
No.
Coal mines.
No.
Huh.
No.
That's
not a bit.
Yeah. There's no big industry. But
there's no coal mines. We're in Jefferson County, which is the furthest eastern county in the Eastern Panhandle. Okay, and then it's Berkeley and Morgan, and so forth. And I'm not sure of any mines at all in any of those three counties. Mm-hmm. There could be. Well, there's the sand and glass mine in Morgan County, U.S. Silica, I believe it is.
Yeah.
So what was the cave system that was underneath the town that they said it all kind of like linked together?
Yeah, well, that was something I'll never go back in. You couldn't pay me enough money to get me in that hole in the ground again. That actually, I had no idea that stuff was there, that those caves were there, but those caves run through all three of those counties that I just said in the entire Eastern Panhandle. They are all somewhat connected, be it very small or very large, from everything that I can find out on those. That cave was very tight to get into. And when we got in there, these are one of the things that didn't make the show, but Nick slipped, went down, and was headed down into a point where we couldn't see anymore. And he and I kind of wedged ourselves and got back out of there and said, "This is enough. Let's get out of here."
Oh, wow.
It was tight. I'm not claustrophobic, but that's a different feeling. I mean, it's an entirely different feeling. Very cold, damp, not a good feeling at all. Not a good feeling at all.
That it, all of that connected and it led to some place where I don't remember. Did they say that
they connected into a place in Martinsburg?
Okay. And they said that's where everything began.
Yes. Yes. And see, it's all limestone. This is nothing but limestone through there.
Okay. Limestone, it actually
is it good? Right.
Yeah.
And they call, if I'm not mistaken, they say that's a good conduit for it. Is that correct? That and the river. The limestone and the river are the two things that they said this is crazy that this is coming together like this. I mean, listen, that cave was 20 yards from the river.
So, okay. Yeah,
Fix it
the
for me.
river. I mean, the moving water always has some sort of activity.
Yep.
Water,
There, water and limestone
limestone,
holds energy. So
and
you have,
shale.
you know,
Right,
so
Ann?
you have the
You saying
combination of
shale too? Is that what you
Shale.
said? Okay, so
yeah,
where I live at up here, and I'm in Berkeley, almost into Morgan County, it's all shale and limestone. But we're out of the limestone right in the area that I live in. It's all shale here.
wow. So you got all kinds of energy, all these different types of stones that holds energy, so that can cause some kind of paranormal experiences, or anything like that. That's so it's like a prime area for it. With the movement of the water, and then you got all those stones. It's wild. That's
Anthony,
crazy. Yeah.
Anthony, be quiet. I don't want any more issues like that. We wanted
Okay.
we wanted to stay quiet.
You no more.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No. Honestly, I'd be happy if we didn't hear any more, but I still hear them all the time. I still hear people talking about stuff that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it doesn't go away overnight. You know what I mean?
It's not gonna.
But, you know what I
It's
mean?
not gonna go away. Period.
You got the whole town. I mean, it's you know. Yeah.
Well, and hey, look, you talk that we talk about Gettysburg when we're there in Gettysburg, okay?
Mhm.
Because there was so much death at that location. All right,
Mhm.
we are 3 miles from the Antietam battlefield, and we have the Shepherdstown battlefield, which is right there, where they had quite a little skirmish themselves, and a lot of things happened there. And we're all within. It's right there at the river. I mean, the river and the Antietam are all right there together.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So that river seen battle and everything, because I know in Gettysburg, the river in Gettysburg over by the Sachs Bridge, they said during the battle the a lot of soldiers, as they were dying, go over there and start drinking water, and or they actually go into the water that's trying to escape, and the water ran red with blood. It was a red
Well,
river, and
and
I'm
you had
assuming that's
that
the
at
same thing.
the Burnside Bridge in Antietam as well. They said the water
Yeah.
turned red with blood, and of
mhm.
course you had the bloodiest day in the Civil War battle at Antietam on Bloody Lane, which was, if I'm not mistaken, 28,000. Does that sound correct?
I'm not sure on that one, but
I believe so. Chris knows a lot about this though, because he said, didn't they use those caves during the Civil War? And I think they did to kind of like hide. And he
They
said,
absolutely did. They're
yeah,
blocked off with steel grates in places.
yeah. And he said limestone is a conduit, and shale bounces current and energy, provide the moving water which produces energy, and you have a natural storage device, and shale will allow the energy to travel.
Okay, makes sense.
I'm not
And all
talking.
of that
I didn't say
energy.
that. I'm not talking about it. See, I didn't say it. You told me not to talk about it.
That's when our friends come in and talk about
If it starts, I'm calling you.
Oh no! You have to get down here. Get down here quick. You got to get rid of this on us.
You stirred it, so you can come put it out.
Yeah, good. Yeah, yeah. You lit the match. You got to put out the bonfire. Oh boy! But it's. So the activity's still going on in the town to this day.
Oh yeah, yeah. We thought that the sweet shop had calmed down the very first episode. It's not. It's back. It's doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something.
There's many others there. There's so many. Um, and the nice part about it is I get a lot of calls from people and saying, "Hey, can we come and do an investigation somewhere in Shepherdstown?" Well, there's so many places outdoors. You really don't even need permission. You can just go do it, and you're going to get everything that you want.
You just
I
sit
mean,
in town
literally.
square, right in the town
What's that?
square. What do you do in the town square? We're
Well, that's
right in
where
the
the
middle of
sweet
the
shop
town.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, just take a bench
And the town run runs under it. The town run runs right under it, right there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So then
you're gonna
how
have the activity right there. You don't have to go. You
how
don't have to go anywhere. The activity is right there.
Yeah.
how do Shepherdstown and Morgan City connect? How far are they from each
Okay.
other?
Well, I don't know mileage wise how far they are. But this is really, really ironic the way that this transpired. My next door neighbors moved out, sold the house, and a new family came in. And he was a retired chief of police from Morgan City. And they said, "We've seen your show." And we started talking. I said, "Well, I bet there's a lot goes on down there." He said, "Well, there's a lot of voodoo down there." And he said people are really big believers in that kind of stuff. He said when he was a police officer there, he said they would be going to like dead body calls. And he said they'd stop at a traffic light and they ran two-man cars. He said, and my partner would get out and say, "I'm not going any further." He said, "Just as far as I go, you handle it, come back and get me when you're done."
Oh,
So,
wow.
I mean, strange stuff going on. But he said there's a lot goes on down there. And the producers were looking for someplace new to go to see if that anything could transpire, if there was a good location. And they put me on to Morgan City. The next door neighbor did. And I got a hold of the producers and they said, "Yeah, if you can get us in down there," they said, "we'd love to go and investigate that," because they knew the history. Because Morgan City's not far from New Orleans. Okay. And they said, they knew the history of everything that had happened down there. Morgan City's right on the water. So put them in touch with them, and sure enough, it went crazy. I mean, it went really good. They had a lot more going on down there than what we ever thought they did.
Wow. Wow. Well, you got voodoo involved, so there's other activities
And they
besides.
didn't do anything with voodoo in the show. I mean, they
No.
talked about it, I think, a little bit, but they didn't
Yeah.
really do anything with it.
No.
And Jeremy down there, he had been into it for a long time. And look, and I'm not trying to cut anybody, and Jeremy's one who won't do that. But there's so much stuff. Everybody wants to take it towards a demon, and not everything is a demon that's out there.
That's right.
It's just not. It's not all related to that. And Jeremy will tell you the same thing. But when
Mhm.
you do get, from what they say, when you do get one, obviously there's a big issue going on. But they got hooked up down there, and it wasn't a lot of voodoo that they looked into, but they got into a lot of stuff. I think they had a really good team down there. As you know, they changed the team.
Yeah.
And I think they had a really good team down there. I think they all did a really good job, and they had a guy there that knew what he was doing when he was building equipment too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Voodoo, they just work with spirits and stuff. So they bring in stuff. Okay, they didn't talk much about it, but
Yeah.
that could have been a lot of the activity in the town because the voodoo always brings in something, if it's negative or positive, because they always have something. If it's voodoo or hoodoo, they always bring something in. So that's where activity happens because they're opening portals all over the place.
Yep.
And so that's why they probably had a lot more activity than what you've seen before. Or what
And
you
it was really funny at the police department when I was down there, because they were all the kind of the same way I was. "Oh yeah, I don't believe any of that." But the calls would come in, they'd hear the stuff, but they were like, "Yeah, I don't believe any of that stuff."
Mhm,
But I
mhm.
think things kind of changed around a little bit while they were down there.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are skeptics until they have to be proven. It has to be shown, or if they got
Yeah.
experience before they actually, you know. I understand that, and when I do something, I never try to convert somebody into like, oh, this is it. No, no. It's when you're ready, you're gonna understand what I'm talking about. So that's how it works. You know.
And most people that, if I'm not mistaken, most people that get into paranormal investigating have something happen to them. They see something, they hear something, they experience something in some way that they just can't let go, and they want to find out what the cause was.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of where it starts with a lot of, I mean, that with most people.
So, have you been on any investigations anywhere besides your location? And have you been out of state, or do you do any other investigations? Because I know you know a lot of teams. So,
Yeah. I've done some in Pennsylvania, done some in Maryland, and some in West Virginia.
yeah. Anything that got you a little whoa, like made the hair stand up in your neck that you want to do,
Well,
like maybe
my
leave?
my son won't like me talking about this, but he experiences far more than I do.
Okay.
It
He
passes
loves to
on.
do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, he loves to do it. He experiences a lot more than I do, and I kind of watch him and pay attention to him as to
Mhm.
what he's telling me, because I can tell when something's not good with him. His back hurts whenever he'll get against a wall and he'll lean against a wall. I said, "Your back's hurting," and then he goes, "Yeah, there's something here." And it's not long, then things start to, the EVPs start working, or
Mhm.
the EMFs, or the REM pod is working. I mean, there's a lot of, and obviously one doesn't mean anything. And I've worked with a couple of other teams, like particularly one guy in particular who has taught me a lot about. When I say a lot about, I'm qualifying what I'm seeing, if that makes sense to you, with the simplest of tools.
Mhm.
Okay. A deck
Mhm.
of cards, ping pong balls, something like that.
Mhm.
And what he taught me was phenomenal. And much to my surprise, it worked one night. I mean, and we were doing a live feed video on Facebook. We had been at the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, and there was a kids paranormal team that was there,
Okay.
and we went with them afterwards to do an investigation. And to qualify what was going on, we put the ping pong balls on the table, and we said, "Okay, if there's something here, can you roll the red ball?" And listen, we were sitting at a table, and everybody was back. There was no tablecloth, nothing. And as sure as I'm sitting here, the red ping pong ball started to move. Okay. I said, "Okay, that's great. Can you do the blue one?" Then the blue one started to move, and the red one stopped. And the guy who taught me this called me on the phone afterwards. He goes, "This is great. You guys are doing a great job." So it was a lot of fun. And I would say that confirmed some things for me that night there. Yeah.
Mhm. That's awesome when they respond. You say, "Move the red one moves," and you say, "Okay, move the blue one," and then also the red one stops and the blue one moves. So that
Yeah.
confirms there's something intelligent response you're getting from a spirit. You're getting something intelligence.
A couple other incidents that happened to me. Um, we were we were at a place in outside of Baltimore City,
Mhm.
and they were doing an investigation there, and we had an SB11 running at the time. And we were in a room, and some people were having some feelings from what was going on, from something that had happened in that room prior to. And
Mhm.
a male voice came on the SB11 and began to answer some questions for us as we were asking them almost live. Um, and my wife was there, and she said, "Well, how many people are in the room?" And this was so dark. I mean, you really had to stop and think. And I think the voice said 5. And we looked around, there was only 4 of us in there. And she says, "Do you mean you too?" And the voice said, "Indeed." And it was like, wow,
Yeah,
I mean, that gives you chills when something like that happens.
And you're a
yeah.
Um,
skeptic.
I know, I
He's
know,
open. He's open. I mean, it's.
but I'm going to tell you about a personal one then here real quick. My dad passed about 6 years ago, and he passed in the summertime, and we were doing an investigation at the Haldeman Mansion up in Bainbridge, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's awesome
Okay.
place. Yes.
Yes. And we were out in the summer kitchen on the second floor, Anthony. So you know where we're at.
Mhm.
And it was a night that was unusual because
Outside that
nothing
night
was
you were.
happening. Yeah,
Mhm.
but nothing was happening that night. I mean, and that's unusual for that place. We
Mhm.
usually got a lot. We had the SB11 running, and the guys who I was with and myself, we all went upstairs with my son, who was with me, and nothing would come across the SB11. And Ernie finally said, "Well, if you don't want to talk to us tonight, can you at least tell us somebody who's here?" And as I'm sitting here right now talking to you, as plain as day, Mike King comes over the SB11,
Oh,
you know?
wow.
And I mean, my eyes got big, and the guys that were with me, the eyes got big. And he says, "Okay, can you tell me somebody else?" My son, Anthony, has a name that's kind of unusual.
Mhm.
His name came across next. And that was
Wow.
the only words that were said that entire night. So,
Wow.
Was it a
do I
male
think
voice
there's
or a
something?
female
I'm
voice?
sorry.
Was it a
What's
male
that?
voice? Female? Was it
It
a
was a
male
male
voice?
voice and the same male voice on both
Yeah.
the transmissions.
Did it sound familiar?
No, did not. If it did, I'd have said I probably wouldn't be talking about it right now. But it did not sound familiar. But from what I'm told, that really doesn't mean too much.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, because it doesn't sound familiar doesn't mean it's somebody that, you might know.
Right.
Because, because um, we're using boxes, the SLS, the spirit boxes and all those.
Yes.
You're not going to be, they're not going to be using those, always the same voice. Sometimes they can't get it. Maybe they're not strong enough. They're using a voice that's there already. But for your name to
Yep.
come out and then your son's name, that is
Intelligent.
intelligence. That. I mean, that's people could try to fight that and say no, that's not evidence. I say, how can that be evidence? I actually
Right.
Absolutely.
my name came out. Not just your first name, your last name, your full name
Right. And there
came
was no
out.
break in it. There was no
You know what I
break
mean?
in it. It was put
Mike King.
together.
So
Yes.
I mean, that's intelligence.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a lot of intelligence there. That is awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love that place. Like I said, I met you there.
Yes.
And I think I was one of the speakers there and stuff. I was on the second floor and you on the first floor and stuff. Then we started talking. Then you started telling me about Gettysburg.
Yeah.
You thought, oh yeah, and then you introduced me to what's his name, Eric from the Gettysburg. His name's Eric. Yeah.
Talking Steve?
Oh, not Steve. I think it was Eric, the guy that he works with Pam and Steve.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, Eric. And then he came up to me and gave me all the information. Then
Yep.
summer I was in that next summer I was part of Gettysburg Bash.
And you haven't missed one since.
No, except for 2020 when they didn't have one. But
Right.
other than that,
Right.
yeah, I've been in there since. That was a while. So I know you for a while. Was that
Yeah.
17, 16, 17? 2016, 2017 I met you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And
We have
look,
a picture.
this
Every time we get together, we have a picture of us. Every year.
probably. I probably
Yeah.
look at maybe a little younger. Got a little longer hair, I know.
I had a little more hair.
I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, I
But,
know.
honestly, though, I think going to these shows and even the public events the public investigations that we do, it's become really a paranormal family
Mhm.
for the most part. Most people are really, really super nice, willing to share any information you want, willing to help you out in any way they possibly can. And I look forward to these paranormal shows, whatever you want to call them. They're almost like a reunion for everybody to get together
Yeah.
and talk and have a good time. And I look forward to them. I miss everybody, and it's I don't get to as many as I used to do, but
Mhm.
doing the best we can.
I mean, until I started doing the Paracons, um, I was like, not many people you could talk to about the paranormal and stuff like that.
Oh
Not that I was
no,
going back then. You know what I mean? I
no.
started doing the Paracons, and I was like, oh, it felt like a weight coming off my chest. I could talk to these people, and they're not going to get their eyes rolling or some kind of silly joke or something. They're
Nope.
listening, and they're
And they
asking
understood you.
They understood you. Then they ask you advice. They tell you their story, and then you go back and forth. And it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is really cool. How you
There are
got it
people
whole
out there
thing.
just like me. Yes.
Yeah, and it was a cool
Yep.
experience when I first started, and that's why. I mean, we still got more and more, and now it's like open to everybody. Everybody's into it. I mean, I as a kid, I didn't talk about this stuff. Now it's more
No.
free to talk about. That's
No.
what's awesome about it. I
But
go
what you just said is very true. This field is growing so fast right now, and
Mhm.
there's so much technology out there. It's
Yeah,
But you don't always need technology to get you to do what you need to do. You can do it on a shoestring budget, really. It's just you see all the funny gadgets and all the good
yeah,
stuff, and everybody, you go to these shows and you say, I gotta have one of them. I gotta have one of them, you know?
yeah. I will. When I first started, and many people heard this on the show already. I started as 13 years old. I used to run around cemeteries, with dowsing rods, a
Yeah.
Boy Scout compass, and a 35 millimeter camera with one of those big ass flashes that when you shined it, like it looked like like daytime.
Yeah.
You know, you-
Yeah.
that's what I ran around with, and I was think I was getting stuff back then, but I really didn't know what to look for. Until
Right.
later on, and I started like learning here. Oh, maybe there's something here with some because back then you see an orb, it's like, oh, an orb, hey, this is great. I'm not a crazy person about orbs because anything caused them, you know. But it was like shoestring. And then when I talk to people and they tell me they want to get into it, I just tell them, get a recorder, get a cheap recorder, you
Right.
know,
You
and
got a
just go
cell phone,
out.
you got everything you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. I say if you can't afford it, use your cell phone. You got
Yeah,
the audio on there and stuff, and you got free apps. I use
that's right.
WavePad. I got this WavePad I've been using for years, and I've been
Yep.
telling people about it, and they start putting it. It's like, oh, this does work good. That's all you need, you know.
Yep.
You
Oh,
know.
you got your
So
camera and you can put a voice recorder on there and you can set that phone down and ask all the questions you want. You've got everything you need there.
You could use
You know,
Ghost Box, Necrophonics.
yeah,
yep,
static.
it's all there for you.
I
Mhm.
was wondering, I was sitting down one day and I was thinking about when I take pictures. Now I can see energy, so I could figure out where things are in pictures. But there's a lot of people who don't have abilities like that. So I thought
Right.
about why you can see, spirits and negatives. And I thought, we have filters on our phones, so why not use your filters to your advantage? Play with the
Mm-hmm.
color, play with the saturation, play with the tint, play with everything. So I thought somebody wanted to know what I see when I see spirits. So I played around with the filters and I said, this is what I see. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh my God, you
Yeah.
can see that? And I'm like, yeah, now you can too.
Right.
When you go
Right.
ghost hunting, take pictures with your camera on your phone and play around with
Mhm.
those things. Everyone else can see exactly what I see too. I probably
And
just gave away all my stuff.
take multiple pictures of the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in
And if you
threes.
get something in one picture but not the other two, then tell me what that is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's when it comes to equipment and stuff. Like I said, you don't have to have nothing. I got some of the best pictures I have on my cell phone of people in windows or mirrors or that are not there, and I got some of the best evidence that way.
Sure.
From different locations. So I mean, you don't have to go expensive.
Dousing
Especially
around
people are smart. I know people that get into it and they bought everything they seen on TV shows. As soon as they seen the ghost, it went back in the box. They never be seen again.
Yeah.
And it's always like
Yeah.
when you feel like you should be taking a picture, take the picture. Your intuition is never, ever wrong. Ask Mike.
Right.
He goes by his intuition.
Yep. But and this is not something that you hear until you get with I think people that have been doing this for a while, and I mean this seriously, you got to protect yourself too while you do these things.
Absolutely.
You know, I
Absolutely.
mean, you're putting yourself out there, and you got to be careful.
And if you don't know
Yeah.
how to do that, you can always message any of us. I'm always open for questions.
Absolutely.
Nothing's ever stupid. I will teach you how to ground yourself, protect yourself, open your chakras, you know, cleanse yourself, whatever. Chris Allgood, he's always open, I think.
Yeah, when people, I'm always trying to help people out, especially new people coming in. That's why I love the paracards. They come up to you and they ask you questions about all of these different things and, you know, different pieces. How many people you brought over to my table just to show them? Mike brings people over to my table. He goes, "Here, here's the guy you want to talk to." And they'll talk to me about, you know, different pieces of equipment or just experiences they had, which is awesome. You know?
Well, people want to see good stuff, and I'm not saying the others don't have good stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But you take the time to show me what you have and explain it to me, and that means something to some of these people, and that's why I send them in the directions of the people who I know will do that too.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm there for, to talk to people. That's how I got into the Farrakhan's, because I needed to talk to people that did the same thing I did. That's why I started going to Farrakhan's, and I said, "Oh wow, this is awesome." And so when people come to me, I don't mind sitting there talking to them about stuff.
We really do love what we do, and because of that, we love to talk about it. We love to explain things to people. We love to help people with their, you know, their issues, or if they want to get involved in this, or if they want to, you know, have someone do a walkthrough of their home, or if they are having issues at their home, or if they just, you know, have questions about their own abilities. We are always open to answer anything.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm always looking for.
You guys are a resource. You're the resources there.
Even the people in the chat, a lot of people over there, Tammy, Chris, I don't even know who's here tonight. Everyone seems to
a lot of people in the chat
have a lot of abilities, or they know a lot of things. I mean, even if it's not in regards to, you know, investigations, Ufi and Ron know quite a bit about is it ufology? Ufology.
UFOs.
Okay.
UFOs now.
Yeah. You gotta explain stuff to them, like guys like me, and
yeah.
Mike.
Look, when you work in law enforcement for this long, the government there's little 3 letters for every one of their divisions, so you start losing track of all of them.
I worked for the government, so I know that too. Everything is like it's always little letters for everything.
Yep.
But Charles Smar, he's brilliant. Jenny Colucci, she's a wealth of knowledge. Ron Iacovetti, brilliant. ITC method.
By the way, I just want to throw this out there. This Sunday night, the Knowing Talking to the Unknown, and that's going to be on Paraflix. Ron Iacovetti, Lourdes Gonzalez, Tony and Sherry Rathman. They're actually going to have a documentary on Staticom. So if anybody, you know, this Sunday night, they're going to be on the Paraflix. So if you guys want to go and watch it, I'm just throwing that out there. You know,
I'm not sure.
And well, actually, if you sign up for Paraflix and you give a code, as you write this down, it's Staticom 25, and you get 25% off for the year on Paraflix. If you use that, it's Staticom 25.
Okay, I'll put that in the comments.
Okay, you get 25% off on Paraflix if they join up now, and it's going to be Sunday night. It's going to be Sunday, October. Sunday, October. Shows where I am.
We're on Halloween.
August 19th.
On Sunday night, August 19th. At what time?
It doesn't. I don't see a time.
Well,
I
that's
guess it
important.
just starts then. It's on Paraflix.
On Sunday night, August 19th on Paraflix, also owned by Patty Negri and Natalie Jones.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna.
Sign up and get 25%
So,
off for the year with code.
so yeah, there's you met Ron and Lourdes, Mike, Ron Yacovetti and Lourdes Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got that Staticom going on. I think you seen them. They were showing it at Gettysburg, and they actually they got together with this with Tony Rathman and Cherie Rathman. They're in
Yep.
Arizona, and they did a documentary on Staticom, and Paraflix picked it up for them.
Oh, wow.
So so it's going to be a docu series. It's going to be three episodes. So it's pretty cool. And
Good.
you might see a good looking fellow in a couple of them.
He's on it.
Is that what he's trying to do? Put a plug in there for us?
Yeah, we'll just cut to the
face. So they're going to be. Oh, Lourdes says it's 9 p.m.
I just looked it up. Thank you, Lourdes.
So you've seen them do the Staticom, the advertisement. I know if you actually sat in one of their sessions. I know after the Gettysburg, you jumped on your bike and you went home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's another
I'd
thing.
jump on that bike and live on that bike if I could.
Yeah. Mike is an average biker. He gets on that motorcycle and he could drive anywhere. He drives back and forth to Gettysburg from West Virginia. They go back and forth. That's
just great. A short ride.
Just a short ride for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think last year you came. I seen you drive up. You had your son on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You rode up there with your son on the back.
Weather permitting, I'm on the bike. I hate to ride in the rain. Storms mainly.
Anybody.
But yeah.
Yeah. I heard you said I used to hate riding in the rain. Like all of a sudden started and you get hit in the face with the drops. And it feels like little pellets hitting you in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last Monday we had a really bad storm here, and I was almost took the motorcycle. I had to go run out and do something, but I took my car. Mm-hmm. We had golf ball size hail while I was out, and I ended up with like well over 200 dents in my car. So the insurance company loves me. Yeah.
Oh man, but that's better than 200 dents in your head.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that bike would not have been fun.
Yeah. All over your shoulders, and it's riding in that slippery stuff. No. You would have to pull over the side of the road and just sit there and wait.
It doesn't help. The hail don't miss you when you stop.
No. You go on the underpass or something, but still. Yeah. I miss riding. I got nerve damage in my hands. So I can't hold my wrists too long in a position because my arms got numb because of the damage I have in my arms. And my hands shoots down from my shoulders. So
see, that's why you need a Harley, because it shakes so bad. Then you don't have it. Just brings you back to life, is what it does. Keeps your nerves from.
That's it. Yeah, it keeps you. It gives you a little vibration. Keep
a little massage to your hands. Yeah,
that's what I need. I gotta switch my bike until I get a Harley. Yeah, but I haven't rode in a couple of years because of it. The damage I got in my arms. I can't hold my drumsticks. And, even when I draw, my hands get numb.
We heard a secret in the comment section. Chris Allgood said that Playboy gave you a carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah.
See, what he meant by that was
there's no hair on my palms. Look, Gillette,
Yeah, yeah,
Gillette takes that good off.
yeah,
Maybe that's why my
yeah,
eyesight went after all these years.
yeah.
Thanks for giving out my secret, Chris.
You were called out.
And Playboy's too. Yeah. That's Playboy. Yeah, no. You get the better magazines than Playboy. Come on. You
You're
got
just
internet now too. You don't even need that stuff. Jeez.
Now he's hitting the library of magazines for himself now.
Yeah, those are sitting in the shelf. You don't need them no more. You
so,
got
Mike. What are
internet.
you up to these days?
Preparing to retire
Good. That's a good answer. Are you going to
for good.
Good.
I'm sorry.
Hi, Virgil. What do you are you going to pursue the paranormal?
Only on a
Fun basis?
recreational basis type thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll probably
Has
put
it-
more time in the seat of that motorcycle than anything.
I like that
I
answer.
don't blame you.
That's a really good answer.
I,
So, what was it like working with Nick? I got the opportunity to work with him, and I really loved it. We had a great time.
Yeah, Nick's a wealth of information. If you ever get to be around him and talk to him, I suggest you pick his brain.
Mhm.
He's got some interesting perspective on things. It
He
makes you think about a lot of things that you never thought about before. And I'm talking paranormal things, seriously.
And
Um,
other.
Yeah, but the paranormal things, he brought a lot to the forefront, I think, for me to start looking at in a different way.
Yeah.
Just by the things he told me. I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it very much.
So this might be a controversial question, but I think that it needs to be asked, and you can answer it however you want. You can plead the fifth. What
Sure.
do you say to people who ask if it was scripted?
Yeah. Yeah. You get asked that all the time. Sure, there are parts of it that are. Okay, again, it's TV. Just like you said, they do the reenactments. That's
Uh-huh.
scripted stuff.
Okay.
Okay. There's no two ways about that. You got to do reenactments for that, or otherwise you're not going to go anywhere with it. But no, it wasn't that. Not at all.
So the calls that came in, that was accurate. Everything about it.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people
Yes.
truly believe that this was just a made up story for TV and it was crap.
Yeah. I wish it was. Yeah. I wish it was. Now, there are people who will tell you, just like everywhere you go, they don't believe in ghosts. They've never seen anything there in town. But I can guarantee you, if you can go over to the sweet shop and you talk to the lady who owns the place, she'll tell you it's still there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And she means every word of it. She's not a person to joke about it.
Didn't she call several times during the show?
Mhm.
Because I believe that was the place that there were several. It's been so long since I've seen that because it was a while ago.
Right. And town has gone through some changes since the show too. Some of the places, the businesses that were in there have since changed.
Mhm.
There's reasons behind that I can't get into on here that had a direct impact on, believe it or not, on the show. Things that happened in the show because of what was being done in that business.
Okay.
So
And that's understandable. Be signing an NDA.
And I don't mean it. I mean, we know why some of the bad things were happening.
Okay.
did any of the anybody on that show, you think that they were making stuff up so you will come in to investigate, so they could be on TV?
Oh, that's a good question.
No, I don't think so.
No?
Like to
I don't
drum
think
up
so.
business or
To do what now?
like to drum up business or to like get them like some exposure or advertising.
No, not at all. In
Because
fact,
that would be a great way.
yeah, no, not at all. Listen, Shepherdstown has a great tourism business anyhow. They had that long before this show was ever thought about or ever transpired.
Hmm.
If anything, the people were glad to see it stop airing, so there weren't so many people in town.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
You would think that they'd want the business.
There were a lot of business people who liked the added people in there because, obviously you bring people in, you're going to do business. Okay.
Sure.
But there were other people that said they were glad when it stopped because there was a lot of people around.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, it's a tourist town, but it's so much you could do. I mean, how many people you gonna, it's a small town. You can't
It's a small town. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where are you gonna put all these people?
And that's just it. I mean, there's a lot. Look, there's bigger towns right around us. There's plenty of places to stay. There's not a problem finding a place to stay. And as we all know, paranormal investigators are typically big into history, things like that. And with the Antietam battlefield there's a lot more for them to go and do and look at. There's a lot of history in that area. DC's 70 miles away. It's an hour and a half drive from there. There's so much there it's a stopping point, I think, for because of the show. So a lot of people did stop, looked into it.
Yeah.
A lot of people conducted investigations there and found stuff and sent me the stuff that they found.
Yeah, that's interesting. And because it sounds like a central. You're not too far from New Orleans and all these different places.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, at DC and everything. So that's maybe like a nice little hub where people go to, and and then with investigations, I mean, did any of the places there ever, start charging people to do investigations? Or anything like that? No.
No, because they were open for business, normal business. I mean, these were places that were functioning businesses.
Okay.
They can't disrupt their business. I'm sorry.
But after business, did any of them ever open up to like teams to come in?
It would be rare.
Yeah.
There were some that did open up and let other teams come in and do some investigations. Yeah, but it was more rare than anything. Yep.
That's interesting. Because I'm actually
because they're functioning businesses.
I want to go down there and do some. I want to go down there and still do some investigation now. I've been wanting to do that since I started the show. I know you always tell me, when you come down, I'll show you the place to go. You always tell me that, and I haven't.
I've told you that all along.
I know. I've been to.
I'll guarantee you, you'll walk away from there and going, yeah, there's something here.
Are you near? I don't know. Isn't there like a haunted, what do you call it? Like where they got a Ferris wheel and stuff like that.
Shawnee. You talking about Shawnee?
Isn't it like a haunted? Oh wow! I just went blank. My fever is going up now. It's like, yeah.
You've got me. I don't know what.
Amusement park. Is there a haunted?
Not that I'm aware.
Shawnee.
I'm not aware of one.
Okay, so I know there's one in West Virginia. Last time I went down there, Trans-Allegheny, the woman gave me information to go to it. So I'm not sure how far down you are from, Trans-Allegheny. You said you're 2 hours from Trans-Allegheny?
I'm pretty certain it's about 2 hours.
Because I've been to Trans-Allegheny, I've been to West Virginia Penitentiary, which I would love to get back to those two places one day.
Right.
It is Lake Shawnee is in West Virginia, in Rock, West Virginia.
I have no clue where that is.
Okay. Yeah, was like a family that built this place, and I think it was on Indian burial ground or something, and it kept on. They have a lot of activity going on there, and
I've heard the stories. I've heard the stories before
years ago, and then they closed it down. So yeah. I wasn't sure if that was close to you. I wasn't,
Yeah,
no. Like people asking me about things in Long Island. I'm like, I don't know. I'm in Queens.
Yeah, you're only 3 hours from me.
Yeah, I'm 3 hours from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If I go that way, okay. The other one. All right. Now I'm getting it. because the other
Oh my
ones are like
God,
7
it
hours.
took 2 hours.
Huh?
It took 2 hours.
You know what I'm going to say here?
No wonder you've been at this since you were 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's one of us now. He's busting on you too.
Okay. When you see us still like this, we had an episode that my camera went out, and well, I couldn't see the screen, so everything went blank on me. But everybody's still seeing me on camera, and I'm like, she's asking me, "How you okay?" I'm like, I don't know where I
He
am.
goes,
Like
I don't
this,
know where I'm at.
I don't know, and now it's become a ongoing thing. Every time I go say something, they're like, they do it in the audience too, as we do it. So it's an
Chris said
ongoing
that your
thing.
carpal tunnel is affecting your memory.
Well, I do have 101 fever right now, so I'm not feeling so good.
Tonight will give you the excuse.
Give me an
Tomorrow,
excuse. At
not
least
so
this time. At least
There
this
you go.
time. I'll be
So-
on.
Lake Shawnee is a little bit north of Princeton.
Yeah, that's a ways from me. I know where Princeton is.
Yeah. It's supposedly
Yeah, that's quite a ways from me.
like a very haunted, abandoned amusement park where a bunch of kids died in a swimming pool or a lake or something like that.
Hmm.
It's very, very haunted.
Yeah, they closed down or something. Yeah, children were killed there, and I think it was on Indian burial
They
ground.
drowned. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what that, you know. So it's like we got when you ever come up here, we got to get you the Shanley Hotel.
All right.
The Shanley, it's up in upstate New York. We got the owners. We're pretty good friends with the owner, and we'll get you to go up there, and we got to do that. We got to do that before you retire. So
Why do I got to do it before I retire?
You got to do it before you retire, because after you retire, you're gonna have your ass on that bike, and you're gonna be all over.
Well, I'll ride the bike up.
Yeah, he could ride everywhere.
Awesome. I used to call my bike Gumad. I used to tell my wife, I'm going to go ride in the Gumad. The Gumad. You know what a Gumad is? That's girlfriend.
No.
That's girlfriend in Italian. And when the guy goes, hey, I have a Gumad, that's a side piece. So
There you go.
I go, I'm going on my Gumad. She goes, why you call your motorcycle Gumad? It's it's like a Gumad. You could take her out all day, ride her. You wrap your legs around her. You're riding. You're enjoying it all day long.
Anthony,
And you put it back in the garage, and you don't have to worry about it the rest of the night.
This is a family-oriented show, Anthony.
it really isn't. This is probably
I didn't say nothing dirty. A Gumad. It's a Gumad. Yeah. So that's I used to call my I used to call my wife. I'm going out with my Gumad. So it's used to ride for hours at a time. Miss that. That's the worst thing when you can't enjoy it because of the pain.
Uh-huh.
Chris said this is called paraporn.
Paraporn. Yeah. And look, Ron's saying I lost it. I don't know.
Well, guys, I'm gonna get ready and sign out of here because you guys are about ready to call it, I think.
It is time. Yeah. Thank you so much for being with us. This was amazing.
Anytime.
You're a sweetheart. We would love to have you back anytime if you'd like to come back with us. And hopefully we get to see you again before the next Gettysburg Battlefield Bash.
That would be great.
Awesome.
Look forward to it.
We can always go out and investigate together, and
we'll hotel room before they lift out. Take the hotel room.
Now, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, we would love that.
So hotel room in Gettysburg before they sell out. Get your hotel room in Gettysburg. They're selling out.
Heck, I can ride the motorcycle back and forth.
Oh, that's right.
You're Gamad.
I forget.
Gosh.
All right. Well, we will see you soon. We'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you all very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mike.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. So this was a fun night. We lasted the whole 2 hours. No one died. No one puked. Anthony, do you still have a fever?
I think so.
You think so?
I could get the thermometer for my butt.
Oh, God. So before that happens, we're going to leave. So next week on our show, we have our great friends, Audra Keeler and
Chris, all good.
our good friend who explained very well what shale is and how it's formed, Chris Allgood, the man who knows everything about everything. The following week, we are going to have stuntman Rick McCallum. Anthony can explain more about that when we get closer to it.
Hollywood Paranormal. It's
Hollywood
on
Paranormal.
Hollywood Ghost Hunters.
Hollywood Ghost Hunters. Mm-hmm. All the big guys from the Hollywood horror movies. Tall killers. Oh. So.
Yeah, Jason and Leatherface. Okay?
Yeah. So he's one of those guys. This was a great night. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us. As usual, we had lots of watchers tonight. We hope you're back for next week. Chris and Audra will talk about all of their fun stuff. And this, again, as usual, is Dimensions of the Supernatural with Mike King, our guest. I'm Maureen Grudzinski. This is Anthony Simonelli, my lovely co-host, who's always sparkly. Otherwise known as?
I just want to say.
Oh, boy.
I said, you want to look for ghosts. Be safe. Look for ghosts. Don't become a ghost. You know?
That's right.
Forget about it.
Yeah. So we'll see you next time, Thursday night, 7:30 to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.